simplify, but Benji going to be able to clean up one. Savage gets the other, and a nice pickup for them. For them there. 4 points so far, but Savage, man, very little white HP.
And if Savage gets tagged here a bit, that's going to be the green light for any trio to kind of jump on down. And just looking at it right here, it's like once you kind of leave your main power POI, the question is, where are we going to find a replenishment? And considering right now, there's literally zero or minimal opportunities to kind of farm up, you're going to have to get it from another trio. And when you're in shambles like Benji and Savage are, that's going to be so difficult. Yes, they get a little grease refresher. They find their little moment of oasis. But that could be soon a mirage going forward for the rest of the ride here in this opening game in day 2. This is the grand finals. This is the FNCS Trios. At the end of the day, we will crown an FNCS Trios champion. And that's going to be awesome. And they're going to collect 100 active champions and gain the ultimate respect of being a champion.
And are currently on board.
Aníxame live. No, let's fucking go.
Rams Clement and Nakos, the French trio, being absurdly consistent during their heats and having a good start to the day yesterday, but 2 really waffling games there. Games 3 and 4 made it tough and kind of allowed for the top of the leaderboard to separate themselves out a bit. Now, one thing about this trio in particular is they're a little bit more aggressive on average than any other trio in the EU. They generally will pick up their first eliminations around 8.5 minutes in, which is more so than a lot of the other teams. So despite being uncontested, they're more than comfortable to go out and not only get tags, but look for confirmations. We went from 91 players to 66 players in that nice little spurt there. So the Storm Surge driving plenty of action, plenty of points being doled out, but it's all in the form of won't come through until we have our top 17.
Ναι, δεν το έχει, είναι όλοι μαζεμένοι και έχει μια γιγάντια μπάλα. Κουλουφάτα, έτσι εδώ. Πού πήγε μόνο.
Θα σας πω πότε ακριβώς, το βλέπω από το κινητό για να σας πω πότε ακριβώς να πάμε, okay.
Εμείς είμαστε στη συναυλία.
Ναι, εννοώ πότε ακριβώς να πάμε στο FNCS.
Α.
Τα βλέπω από το κινητό εγώ το FNCS.
Πάμε εκεί που είναι όλοι. Καλή φάση παίζει. Ω, βλέπω ένα φίστικ.
Εσείς δεν το ξέρετε το Jane Balvin.
Όχι.
Αυτός που λέει το Λοκίτα είναι. Όχι το Λοκίτα. Να, αυτό το τραγούδι.
Ναι, ναι.
Δεν το ξέρετε. Είναι ο πιο γνωστός rapper, hip-hop rapper.
Πάμε λίγο.
Είναι ο πιο γνωστός rapper hip-hop.
Όπλα να στρελείς γίνεται.
Είναι ο πιο γνωστός hip-hop rapper στη γη. Ω, τι γίνεται ρε μαλάκα εδώ.
Μα εμένα μου ακούγονται σαν ελληνικά.
Κάτσε να πάμε εδώ στο music.
Ελάτε εδώ, με τα φίστικ όλα. Εδώ Δημήτρη.
Πώς γίνεται να το δυναμώσω, για κάποιο λόγο.
Είναι εδώ,
Και εμένα μου φαίνεται πολλά χρόνια.
Α, απλά δυναμώνω τα ακουστικά. Πού ήρθε.
Φάση έφυγαν τα άλλα φίστικ, όχι.
Πώς χορεύεις.
Γιώργο, τι φάση, τι γίνεται.
Πάμε λίγο ρε.
Όχι, έβαλε κράσ φαντάζεσαι.
Δώσε.
Και δεν μπορεί να το φτάσει το κράσπα.
Πλάκα, ο Jane Balvin είναι αυτός που λέει
ένα στο άμα που αρχίσουν τα τελειάνει, δεν κάνω τζάμπα πράγμα, πληρώνει, ναι. Σαν ενδιαφέρον μου αυτό, έχω την μπανάνη, αφαιρεύει.
είναι αυτός που λέει το... Πώς το λένε ρε.
Όχι, όχι, όχι.
Ωχ, τι είναι.
Πάμε λίγο hype. Εγώ είδα από PS4 ότι στριμάρισε. Ναι, μάγκες. Στριμάρουμε από PS4 και έχει και τα FNCS από εκεί πίσω. Εκεί πίσω δείχνουν τα FNCS. Μη φύγει κανείς. Λοιπόν, ελάτε τραβήξτε όλοι λόμπι. Άχιλ και φίλο, τραβήξτε λόμπι. Και πάμε να φουλάρουμε λόμπι, γιατί έχουν μπει άτομα στο stream και μου ζητάνε να τους στείλουμε. Θα γίνουμε περίπου 10 άτομα.
Ελπίζω.
Μπείτε όλοι μάγκες, θα κάνουμε χαμό. Θα δούμε FNCS, Jane Balvin, θα γίνει σπουτάνα.
Live match και έχει δευτερόλεπτα.
Ναι, κάντε live match αυτό.
Ναι. Κάτι τέτοιο. Σε ένα draft.
Ναι, μ' αφήνω. Κι εγώ. Ελάτε game chat, τραβήξτε το. Ναι, έχουμε αρκετά. Λοιπόν πάμε, όχι σε όλο το friendly, μόνο όσοι μπαίνουν στο live. Μετά μην βάλουμε κάτι άσχετο.
Ρε bro, θα γεμίσουμε τα 5 άτομα.
Όχι, έλα. Είναι αρκετοί.
Τι στιγμή δεν θα μπούτε ένας ακόμα.
Μπήκε ο Χρήστος ήδη.
Μόνο ένας έχει μπει, αυτός που του είπες. Ένα σου είπε μόνο.
Μπαίνει και ο Green Warrior, απλά μπήκε λίγο σε εδώ.
Πώς κάνετε...
Green, αλλά πες.
Live, φίλο. Πώς κάνετε τι? Live, εμένα δεν μου αφήνει.
Απλά πάντα στο settings έκανα.
Ω, Άλεξ είναι Rocket League, ρε. Πάμε Rocket League.
Τι λες, έχουμε full hype για συναυλία και FNCS, έλα. Ωραία, μπήκε και ο Green Warrior.
Κάνα δεν ασχολούμαι. Αυτός κάθε 5 μέρες αλλάζει το όνομα. Πώς το έκανε τώρα? Όχι, ναι.
Billy, άμα είσαι στο stream, best for Trace in the Lancer. Πάμε όλοι ένας like και ένας up. Best for Trace in the Lancer.
Δημήτρη.
Άλλο.
Μετά, επειδή σε λίγο μπορεί να κλείσω, θα μπω στο stream από το υπολογιστή.
Κάναμε και μία leader.
Α, ναι, ισχύει.
Γιατί άμα κλείσει μετά, ποιος θα γίνει leader?
Φαντάζομαι να γίνει ο... Όντο. Θα μπει και ο Δεξάρ τώρα.
Μπήκε ο Δανίλη.
Απλά, νάτος. Μπήκε και ο Δεξάρ, ωραία. Δίκιο είχε ρε που έλεγε για πολλά.
Ωραία, πάμε. Πάμε μάγκες. Πάμε να δούμε τα FNCS. Είναι late game, Μαλάκα. Είναι late game και έχουν 45 άτομα στο τελευταίο zone στα FNCS. Πάτα ready, φίλο, πάτα ready. Και Billy, πάτα ready. Φίλο, πάτα ready, ρε.
Πατάω.
Ωραίος. Παίζουνε τα FNCS και είναι 45 άτομα στο τελευταίο κύκλο. Σε τελείως. Πάμε λίγο. Θα πάμε πίσω στις οθόνες που είναι τα FNCS και θα τα κάνουμε host. Ναι, είναι ο τελικός. Για αυτή τη season, όποιος κερδίσει σήμερα, κερδίζει τα FNCS, παίρνει τα 120 χιλιάρικα. Πάμε.
Ακούνται.
Ναι.
Okay.
Πάμε όλοι πίσω στα βράχια εκεί που είναι τα FNCS. Εδώ πέρα που μαρκάρω. Εκεί πέρα που είναι το κίτρινο μάρκ. Πάμε όλοι εκεί που είναι το κίτρινο μάρκ. Εκεί είναι τα FNCS.
Ποιο είναι το κίτρινο μάρκ?
Εδώ πέρα.
Εκεί πίσω. Πάμε στα FNCS λίγο να δούμε το Benji. Πάτε γάμο.
Τώρα τι θα κάνω? Τι θα γίνει?
Βλέπουμε τουρνουά που παίζουν πολλοί pro players.
Πάρε μπορούν να δείξουν.
Το δεύτερο μεγαλύτερο.
Ρε εσύ θα παίξεις.
Να, τσεκάρτε πως άτομα είναι late game.
And it's going to be Tayson that's going to be left on alone. And you mentioned Mongrel going down.
Εδώ που ήταν το σόπι, ρε.
Mitro and Tayson gonna have to do it as Cammy and Raxo take control height as you're seeing in your bottom right. On the top right is gonna be the low ground implement. And man, look at them so many elims right now. Already with 7 sundown.
And there's plenty more on the board. They're also getting the placement points, taking over top 4 with 9 players remaining. But all of a sudden, Clement is all alone. He's going to turn around and pick up CRR. It's going to be a 1v3. He finds a second. Right away, that was Mitro for the full confirm. But he goes down in third. Raxo up on the high ground, running it out now. And the challenge comes up from Kinzo. And he gets swatted down. Raxo and Gamma Gaming Cammy will close that one out. 9 eliminations and 34 points from the Victory Royale. Match 6 closes out there.
In a blink of an eye, before you know it, a victory royale is accrued by Raxo and Co. We're going to need the breakdown from Zeke, Sayo, and Reese. What you got for us, fellas?
What we got, Sancho, is day 2, and we have even more day 2 teams. This is what we were talking about at the very beginning of this show. Cammy, Artur, I cannot believe they find themselves the Victory Royale. Just for clarity, they came in and ended day 1. With the Victory Royale and eliminations. I mean, this is exactly what we've been talking about. I'm so surprised, and gentlemen, we're gonna break down kind of what went down
Τώρα βλέπουμε τα leaderboards. Πρώτος είναι Mongrel, Mitro, Tyson. GG's! Πάμε! Εγώ το είχα πει από την αρχή. Είμαι με Mongrel, Mitro και Tyson. Δεύτεροι έρχονται ο Janis, μετά ο Wolfis, Kindle, CRR.
It's like they didn't win that last game, but they did
μετά ο
not lose
Νάικος
it
που
either. They got to
κέρδισε.
survive all the
Πέμπτη,
way to the
Savage,
very end, and
Leggy,
now they have an
Benji, πάμε
even
λίγο.
bigger lead, Reese.
Βλέπουμε εδώ πέρα έχει 148 points ο Mongrel. Mongrel, Mitro, Tyson 148 points. Έχουνε βλάκα, έχουνε 43 πόντους διαφορά από το Wave Janis που είναι δεύτερος με το 3. Πάμε λίγο ρε Mongrel, πάμε γάμο. Μάγκες, εσείς με ποια 3 είστε?
Yeah, so our top 3 also switched up with Benji going down to 5th, and then we see another trio, Kinzo, Wolfies, and CRR get 3rd overall. This is what Zeke was talking about, though. Raxo, Cammy, and Artur, a victory royale. 14th place all the way down to 6th with 76 points.
Wow, that's impressive, and you know, to answer a little bit of Sancho's questions, how did they do it? They did it because they were popping off the ground, being really, really consistent. They managed to keep that mobility for the end game, take height, and win the them up from 14th over to 6th.
Yeah, and all the way from 6th down to 15th. There's been a few switch-ups here and there. Nate, Rojo, and Bobo move all the way up to 11th from 15th from what we saw before. Cooler, Robabs, and Black are getting that victory royale, but are starting teetering off now, dropping out of the top 10 place. And Page, we'll see if they can bring it all the way back. Vettel, iDrop, and Stursis also sure to look out for that plays very consistently. The Falconly, Yaxo, and Skite, I love actually seeing their names now. It looks so clean in 15th place. 47 points, not too far behind the competition. Still very close for the top.
You gotta love it. You gotta love it when you can read the names. It's clear and you can find the players. I love it. And all the teams that you're seeing here between 16th and 20, you know, most of these guys are really struggling with that early and mid game. In particular with stars. You know, these guys in this grand finals kind of lobbies going for stars is extremely difficult, and their strategy really needs to be down. We see in 19th. Coming out of Friday is really struggling with that right now. So hopefully they can figure out their strategy, get the points.
I think we could chalk some of it up to just first game jitters, right?
Εμένα δεν με αφήνει να κάνω focus.
Except Mongrel
Γιατί μου φαίνεται η κεφαλάρα μου να πούμε.
We got 7 total games, we got 6 more. It's okay, just first game jitters, let's just test the waters. Okay, game 2. It's time to bring it. Let's go ahead and talk about what kind of transpired in this last game, as well as walk back through the victory. Things that happened there that if you blinked, you missed it.
Absolutely. Throughout the entire FNCS, we've been focusing on the top 8, the top 15. Now it's about the top 3, especially from day number 1 and how they look. Mongrel, and Tayson landing over at Stark Industries, some of the best POIs and then a very good game in day number 2.
Το δεύτερο πάμε λίγο.
The best second best POI in my opinion. We're checking in with our third place team. Benji, Savage, and Lechi. They are contested similarly to the end 2 games of day 1 by the dual media trio, fighting off spawn.
Εδώ βλέπουμε που λαντάρουν οι πρόβος σε αυτό το match.
They're looking pretty strong as well.
They're looking strong, and you know, the Twitter was going wild about Sweaty Sands last night. They were talking about it heavily because it is a fantastic drop spot, but unfortunately they didn't seem to reach to perform out of it that day.
Yeah, over here we'll tune in with Jason, Neutral, and Mongo. The reason they find themselves in this low-ground chaos is because Cammy, Artur, and Raxo saved all their shockwaves, saved their actual crash pads, took height in the 8th zone. These guys only had enough mats to sustain, not retake height, and they ended up falling. Here's Lechi, Benji, and Savage continuing that fight with a dual media trio over at Doom's Domain. Lechi goes down. It's just Savage and Benji left in the end game.
Yeah, it's just Savage and Benji left. They did what they could, but that fight took them way too long. They ended up being in the zone with 2 other trios in the 2nd zone, still in Doom's Domain, made them rotate late, and that left them with trios because they ended up getting focused in that game.
And we have Andalex, X-Squeeze, and Janice in the end game as well. Also a little bit shambles. It looks like all these day 2 trios have improved. These day 1 type of top performers, the top 3, are looking to repeat things, but they will have to adapt to how these teams, such as Raxo, Artur, and Cammy, are closing out these games.
Yeah, and like I kind of alluded to earlier, these guys took height with those shockwave plays in that last moving zone. And because Neutral, Mongo, and Jason did not have enough materials to maintain that high ground, they could not take it back to that point. It was secured for Cammy, Raxo, and Artur. They just continually pressured down from there on, and that was the victory royale.
Again, first game jitters. We'll see. We gotta see for the data from game number 2. The question is, though, is there gonna be a new day 2 trio that will pop up like this one that we just watched, or will our first day trios show up? Well, let's find out as we jump back into game.
So much, Zeke. I am Sancho West alongside Sundown, and it is a new day. Yes, it is. We are seeing some new trios who are trying to meet the performance of our day 1 trios. And hey, that number 2, sometimes a sequel, it can't be better than the original. We all talk about movies here, Sundown. You've seen it before, and here's take a look at our game 2 of 7 here in the grand finals. And we're going to see a finish here up in the Northwest region, which is going to really favor that Doom's Domain and, more importantly, that Sweaty Sands trio.
Slightly west there of the ruins. There's like 3 different teams and 3 different triangles all fighting over kind of the one henchman chest.
Ωραία, νομίζω ξεκίνησε ήδη το δεύτερο μάτς. Ναι, βλέπουμε το Raxo τώρα στο δεύτερο game.
We're gonna hop on board here with somebody else executing on one of the scavenger routes. This is our match number 6 winner as we turn over to now the official backside. We're on the back half of the games here. Matches 7 through 12, and right now, again, we talked about it at the start of the morning. It's who can catch Mongo, Mitro, and Tasted. And despite the fact that this trio was able to take away the victory, they were able to sneak up there in fourth place with 3 eliminations. So still a 17-point game. How the scavenger execution kind of goes about, the key is maximizing your materials, getting enough distance cover to kind of scout where you're but you can potentially ambush who's also running one of these routes. But so far, not going to happen. Telikos and Floki.
We talked about this already, Sundown. This is one of those trios that were very deadly in heats. It kind of get up really quickly to get those elims. You mentioned 8 minutes or less, and they get an elim. They average about 5 elims in their qualifiers. They look really good. We picked them as well to walk away as the grand finals champion. And we had some day 1 jitters, a little bit of stumbling blocks. And now they're just seeing this new opportunity. They took a break that is so important now.
Όχι, απλά εγώ το είπα αυτό γιατί την άλλη φορά... Καλά, κάτσε κάνω mute λίγο. Πάντα φάει mute γιατί δεν λέει τώρα να μου χαλάσει το live.
One thing to note is they had just 2 really poor games where they weren't able to get in those placement thresholds. You can see on the right-hand side, each elimination, but the placement's starting to tick in once you're in the top 17. And for a trio like this in particular, they thrive on consistently getting placement points. They're not necessarily known for absolutely massive over-the-top victories. They're more than capable of winning a game, but it's not typical for them to be getting those 15, 16, 17 eliminations PRs back-to-back. They did it in heats, though. However, now we're going to swing over to the Doom's Domain. And yet again, as we saw, utilizing the secret passageways back and forth to try and get positioning over here on the north side of the house. And you can see the dual media group now trying to rotate back over here. However, all of the onus here is really going to be on Benji and Co to take this one out.
I agree.
And we're seeing this engagement could be so detrimental to run. Dual Media's trio is sitting in 30th place at the moment. And day one, Benji, Mr. Savage, and Lechi kind of, I think they ran them out of Doom's Domain at the very beginning, very early on. It looks like Dual Media has stepped it up just a little bit, maybe trying to take advantage of Mr. Savage, Lechi's, and Benji's slow starts. If they could shake off that slow start, maybe Benji could kind of put a run together to contest with Mongo's trio, to contest with Andalix. But right now, so far, we're just seeing another slow start here, Sundown. Just a little bit. Maybe early signs of it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm tasting the air, and I could taste that slow start.
Φίλο, το τρίο σου παίζει ο Benji, τσάκαρε.
Slow starts today, you think, yeah, well, we got 7 games today. That's one more than we normally get. Like, it's okay.
It did!
Birds are there.
Πω, μαλάκα την Bloom Fight
Nice
έπαιξαν εκεί.
little 50-50. Able to swap over there to the Epic AR. Lechi is also going to be able to get a pick up there on the side.
Πολύ σπασμένο τρίο Benji, ρε.
So
Σπασμένο.
key resources there as well, not having to go over and utilize the reboot. We'll have to find some additional white heals. They have the bandage cannon, so not going to lose too much, but I mean, we've talked about it.
Ο Μπίλης σταμάτησε να το κάνει
unmute. Mitro in Mongrel, and one slow game, they got 17 points last game. So all of a sudden, that difference at the top, specifically if you're Benji, Savage, or Lechi, you lost 12 points last game. You have to make that up some way, shape, or form. And if these guys don't go down, if we don't see kind of that classic patented Mongrel over-aggression, where he kind of overreaches a little bit in the early and the mid-game, and they keep getting their Storm Surge tags, I think, again, it's going to turn into a race for second.
I mean, the biggest fear as well is if somebody or some trio just decided to do 50-50s. After before, they did lose their spot early in qualifiers when Jazzbase Trio, who is in the grand finals, mind you, kind of contested. They kind of started to lose it, but I think that woke up MMT. That woke up this trio to let them know, look, we're going to have to understand that someone will contest us at some point. And they just obliterated Jazzbase Trio in that next day in that tournament. So that is what we're kind of watching here. It's like, will it happen? Could it happen? We already seen OCE, the Lynx Trio slip from that first place, going all the way down to 7th place or so. It could happen, but so far, I don't taste it in the air. I only smell grand final champion here.
And that would be such a kind of feather in these guys' caps. We talked about them being some of the strongest and best players in the world, and right now trying to put that on display, utilizing, again, we talked about this as well, the first shot accuracy.
Mongrel εδώ προσπαθεί να βγάλει λέζες στους low, σε αυτές που είναι στο low, που έχουν αμάξια εκεί. Τώρα θα πάρουν και οι 3 αμάξια για το rotate. Iron Man αμάξια. Ναι, ναι.
Everybody has seen the clip of Mongrel on the high ground with an infantry rifle. This is about the same. And you'll also notice, too, they'll generally run in terms of the rifle choice. They'll have a burst rifle on Mitro, and then Tayson and Mongrel will pick up those Stark Industry rifles. That way, when you're spraying a wall, you have the fast first shot accuracy from the Stark rifles. And the 2-shot burst coming through on the first AR. It gives them a bunch of pressure to hit trios behind their builds.
We saw that stat of Indretta, Sapphic, and Mongrel.
Και τώρα ο Κίντζελ με το Wolfis και το Σιαράτ κάνουν fight με Mongrel, Tyson και Mitro.
Swagged out and whiplashes.
No way.
And then you see everybody else in the back of the pack trying to catch up in the coup. That's the kind of race that we're talking about. Can the turtle catch the hare? And this hare has an extreme crazy start. And they're not going to be lazy like that story hare. They're not going to take a break. They're not going to eat. They're going to keep running at full speed. They're going to take their whiplashes and cross the finish line. The question is, can the people in the coupes and the trucks, any kind of Fortnite vehicle, man, I'm going to take it all the way back to the board days and maybe the shopping cart days. Who's going to catch up to that Whiplash trio? I don't know who that's going to be.
Yeah, you can see those Mark 51s being so fast on rotation, but I will say the one thing that could end up potentially being a little bit of a stumbling block for the trio. If they aren't able to kind of get enough tags to get over the top, that could force them into kind of one of those classic mongrel over-aggressive situations.
Right.
As long as they avoid that, I think they'll be okay. Right? I think that if they've done enough so far where they have the playmaking ability over the course of these 6 games, that they're going to have at least 1 or 2 more solid games in that instance. As long as they don't have 1 or 2 absolutely ruinous games by Storm Surge, this should be good enough for them. But right now, we're going to hop on board with the pressure coming from iDrop straight into the box. Downs gets picked up there. No problem from iDrop 7. However, Sturstix is going to eat a little bit of a problem there. He gets caught in a separate box, and all of a sudden, the 2v2 on the mark, you can see iDrop trying to push forward. They're going to try and get a little bit of a disengage, make sure they can get shields up, but a little bit of a slip up there. What is normally a very strong box-to-box trio.
That was like an extreme push. I've never seen the 1, 2, 3 go, and everybody just box dive in with the AR spray and getting right inside as a trio. And then what ended up happening is they ran into that edit with the triangle edit, and one got caught, got hit right in the shins. You mentioned this in the EU side of things. You got to wear your shin guards, man. You got to pop them, or if not, someone's going to crack you, give you that slide tackle, and there's not going to be a referee to come out of nowhere and give you a red card to kick you out. You're going to have to do this on your own.
Yeah, worst case scenario, you'll get a warning there in the form of one of your players drop.
Okay.
That down current to try and get a little bit of speed, but iDrop being aware of that as well, getting good pressure onto him here. And actually looks like they're trying to kind of... 20 players going to be impacted by that here in 1 minute and 45 seconds. iDrop trying to force his way into the box, but plenty of angles and pressure coming out from the other side. Super limited amount of materials here, down to only 17 builds. You can see that under his 1 elimination here. So we wait for it to catch up, and you can see good pressure coming out from Nems. He is down the shield advantage, but he has his teammate providing some rifle support on both the angles that you can see. Jaganza and Joko just laying down shots for him. A little bit of spread out, though, if they are able to force in and get Nems situated. And they're going to use the harpoon gun straight in, and Nems is going to get picked up. Huge pick up there from iDrop and Vettel, but can they get out of the water?
You're just seeing how great this trio is, but I think what's really affecting them as we're seeing them to try to capitalize and close out this trio is that essentially that change in drop spot is really hurting them. Look at their power weapons. It's not there. They're really doing this with green weapons and not having that firepower. Yes, you could be the most extreme trio that's going to fight hip to hip, but when you're not as strong as Monster was like to say, a 1.5 player that's walking around with an epic shotgun or legendary shotgun, it's just going to be so difficult for you to close out these fights. It's a matter of stamina, and you don't have the necessary stamina considering that you're basically going into these engagements in shambles, and already iDrop 7 goes down. Sturstix is already out, and Vettel is literally on the green HP as Storm is going to overwatch them, and there it is. They get cleaned up, Sundown, and this is the same interesting that I was talking about Thomas HD, the change in drop spot. This trio of Vettel landed in Misty Meadows during their heats. Thomas HD landed in Dirty Docks. They made the switches, and they have yet to kind of find the right rotations out of those changes.
We can see all the action going down as everyone trying to get above the Storm Surge special, but most important to the leaderboard there, we saw Andalex and Co. ended up having at least 2 of their players fall. So into a 1v3 situation unless they can stick a revive. We're going to hop on board here. Nako's Clement and Floki sitting on 1 Elam courtesy of Nako's vertical shockwave coming out, pops him up into the air. Not going to really find anything. Going to be able to utilize his hard mats, just kind of drop back down. You can see the Elam feed lighting up, and the only thing that matters is we're not seeing Mitro, Mongrel, and Tayson on the right side of that feed. In fact, we saw them on the left side of that feed getting a knock right now. Kylie and Frostroki under pressure here from our top 4 French trio of Nako's, Floki, and Clement.
And the deal was one of those trios that was so hot coming into the grand finals, and they just literally, just like a hot iron heading cold water, boom, just get cooled down instantly, just like that chug splash.
Put in the video.
So stiff, and you're looking at here, things are gonna get ratcheted up a notch. Considering Sundown, we have a coral castle finish in our midst, in the distance. But let's just focus in on this trio fight right now. Floki, Clement, Nakos, who's been heating up, had a great game previously. These are the fights that they had lose, because we saw them in day one where they had those bad game 2 and game 3. This cannot go. They have to go their way here. Yes, it's a nice knock on Vedil.
There for a second, getting over to the side there. Kylie also going to end up dropping from a couple boxes away, getting a key siphon 2 over onto Nakos, who desperately needed the extra shield. They wanted that pickup. They know that Frostroki is still around here somewhere. They have the additional flopper, but keep an eye on the bottom right-hand corner. See all of those triangles. We're already rotating the zone ahead of them. With only one shockwave, it's going to be very dangerous for this trio to approach the outside.
Τσερεμπέμπε, έτσι λένε τη μάνα μου. Κάτσε ρε, σταματία λένε τη μαμά σου. Όντως.
8 trios going down before we start doling out those points. And this is the things they already open.
Να, ας πούμε, κάποιοι το ξέρετε σαν το κάνετε Μαρία Ζίου, κάποιοι από το Φώτης 22, με τον κρυλόγκο, κάποιοι από το Face, κάτω Παύλα Φώτης, κάποιοι από το Λόγκερα 22, κάτι τέτοιο.
Τι έγινε?
Δεν ξέρω, γιατί δείχνει black screen.
Κόπηκε το σήμα.
You're gonna have to shoot back and let the people know that are doing those window edits. Stop shooting at me.
One of the key things about this trio is their ability to get eliminations gives them the opportunity to climb up the leaderboard just a little bit more effectively. Again, we've talked about it in the games where they don't drop right away. They're one of the more aggressive trios. So their averages are brought down a little bit by those complete and utter goose egg games. When you take those out of consideration, they have a really good time. But forget what I'm saying right now. As the matter of importance is in the bottom right-hand corner. You see that white circle? That's the 4th safe zone. There's only 3 trios currently inside of it, so everyone else is going to begin a mad dash to just pack in on the southern side of that circle. The entirety of the lobby will be trying to squeeze into that area because everyone else is going to be coming from that side. Nobody wants to put themselves as the first ones out over the water. It makes it so easy. You can see everyone going at once, just desperately swimming.
Πάμε για το win Mongrel, πάμε ρε Mongrel.
The beachhead comes to you.
Μαλάκα καρχαρίας.
Oh my goodness, and we're seeing trios already going to hide
ακόμη καρχαρίες.
just behind them,
μάλλον
moving
μόνο
in the distance is Benji trio, and they're kind of gambling in. If the circle goes the other way, half out, they're going to be here. So Mongro, Micho, and Tayson here are just now beaming any kind of salmon trying to swim upstream.
Πουσάρτε τους κάτω τους λέεις. Ποιος?
Higher rotation here, and look at the congestion that you're seeing here. Everybody, like you mentioned, Sundown, all trying to get on the beach as much as possible and hold on tight. And already there's only one trio that's kind of sitting there. Floki, Floki goes down. That engagement that took up the time is influencing them. It's hurting them on this rotation, Sundown.
And they're completely out there. Clement got picked up early, and Nakos going down right afterward in the long rotation. The top 4 team, we talked about their ability to get eliminations, but at what cost, apparently, everything as our number 1 trio sits high atop their perch, high atop the throne. They're first in the league.
Έχω γιορτή, να ξέρω. Να ξέρεις.
Όντως, έχεις γιορτή. One more player will drop and our Storm Surge will turn off. We have 19 trios left, so almost into the placement points, but yet again, up on the high ground, Mitro, Mongrel, and Tayson, priority positioning. Our second place team still in the lobby, but they're going to have to be toppled at some point. The clock is against everyone else as Janice and Andulex are also without Squeeze. They're in a duo. However, luckily for everyone, the lobby is pulling completely away from that with the little side note that we are going all the way over the water. So expect a ton of utility to be burnt here. Only 3 trios having fire.
Split Splash, we are taking a back here in this in-game. It's all going to be aquatic. It's all going to be chaotic. It's all going to be dangerous. But at the end, there's going to be someone that's going to have a victory out. They're going to be soaked. They're going to be tired. But it's going to be a big game. Somebody could easily kind of bolt their way off the leaderboard. But if Marco takes it, yes, they didn't get the victory out. But Shayo said it best. They kind of got a mini victory just by staying up. And look at it. They're at height. This is going to be big considering everything's going to be over water. The low ground warriors are not going to have the ability to save the resources because they're going to have to build floors as well.
Yeah, we've talked about it too.
Θα καθίσει μέχρι όλο το stream.
Single game, and it's going to have to be pried out of our eliminated body. Everyone still trying to pack on in, and again, placement points starting to get doled out. Forward. Every single placement point that Tayson, Mongo, and Mitro get effectively nullifies the placement points everyone else is getting, because it doesn't matter if you get that point, they're getting it too. They'll continue to open up that lead, and unless continue to be a battle for second as the 5th zone will close. We'll have our transition into the end game, and we're going to head over to the Shark, baby.
Yes, and now Cammy, you know, that was a trio that was able to knock off.
Δηλαδή το βρήκα. Ωραία, όλοι θα καθίσετε μέχρι το τέλος του stream.
No doubt, Mongo, Mitro, and Tayson know how to kind of combat that. They know
Δεν με νοιάζει. 55
points. Go for it. They're already going to the tip of the nose of the shark. They're becoming the sharks of the region. We already have a rogue shark in A East, the Exit boys and all that. But Mongo, Mitro, and Tayson are being the alpha predators, the apex of right.
Καθίστε μέχρι όλο το stream.
Ναι, ενώ άμα το βρίσκα εγώ, θα σας έλεγα να καθόσετε
because
right now Tayson picked up a knock on the feet, and we already seen this double
βασικά εσύ Green δεν το είδες, δεν το βρήκες, το είδες.
And you can see, have you ever just wanted a shark with a laser beam on top of its head? Well, this is the best you'll ever get. It's Mongrel up there with a legendary Stark infantry rifle, raining shots from above. We saw Savage go down in the feed. Lechy's going to pick up another Elim. Despite the fact that 17 players have dropped, not a single trio has gone down, so only one placement point doled out. And as I say that, they begin to tick over. Mongrel gets another elimination. 15 trios remaining, going to be forced over to the side. He's going to build back up. He needs to get over to the high ground and connect with this team, but they are doing a great job of executing this textbook high ground control, and it's going to be their match to close out. However, low on mats is Mongo, but he says, don't matter, don't care. I got the AR I need to start industry rifle, and he finds another elimination. We have our top 20 players, top 11 trios.
And it's going to go back over water again. And it all is up to Tayson, the in-game leader, to kind of lead. Getting them those angles that they need to send those beams down. We've already labeled these as one of the strongest players in the region with beams, and look at this, it's going to go off a waterfall, so the more elevation is going to go down and down. This is going to be crazy. This is intense. Coral Castle, and now we're going to take a peek just for a brief moment at what is going down in the chaos down below. We have the ultimate box fighter teams, Wolfie, CRR, and Kenzel sitting in 3rd place, trying to say, wait a minute, not so fast, Mongo. We are going to contest you, and we are going to have a chance to win, but it's going to require a huge effort to dethrone the Kings on top, Sundown.
And we still need to see them go down. However, Janus on his feet despite Andelix being up. So the 2nd place team at least still getting up to 5th. That's what the top trios do the best in the game. They manage to win points. We've talked about it, that Europe has kind of been the run of the Lone Ranger of the final moments. And if there isn't a trio hip to hip, then there's an opportunity for the clutches to come through. But right now on the low ground, you have one of the most dangerous trios who is hip to hip. As Hen will go down there. Deceptos follow falling at his feet right away will signal the end of that trio. But Wolfies is at the back of the storm. But at the end of the day, the story of EU, time and time again, E11 Tayson, the Chapter 2 Season 3 solo winner, Liquid Mitro and Mongrel on the high ground, running it out. It's a 3v2. They have 11 eliminations. And at this point, it is a battle for second. There is no way, unless there is a monumental ruin, that with the way this trio is playing so far, anybody will be able to catch them or repeat this performance. And this is why Mitro drops down, Tayson and Mongrel shooting at a literal barrel of the zone. 13 points.
You know they're feeling it when Tayson edit downs Mitro to be the ultimate swanton bomb off the top rope, getting the big-time elims and the victory royale. Sundown. Wow, man. We all question, will Mongrel, Mitro, and Tayson have a successful hot start in day 2? And that right there, with the great consistency in that opening game, proves that they have a great chance of walking away to being that FNCS Trios champion.
55 points in the first 2 games. This trio is averaging now just over 25 points a game. That's a victory royale with nothing else. This run is nuts, but we're going to send it on over to Zeke Shire Reese to show us how good it really is.
Κανείς δεν στριμάρει και ο Mongrel στριμάρει κιόλας.
First game jitters, no... Thank you, Reese. Thank you. Number 1. Listen, first game jitters are gone. The trio cracks back. I can't believe it. And these guys did a perfect job of calling this out for us, right? Tayson being your solos invitational FNCS champion from Chapter 2 Season 3. Coming in, you've got the veterans, the pioneers, Mongrel, you slam them all together, and we may very well be looking at the next FNCS Trios champions. Let's take a look at these leaderboards. Look at this lead, gentlemen.
It is monstrous. 186 points to 122, and these guys have 3 victory royales.
That's incredible, actually. 64 points in the lead. And you know, Mongrel and Mitro have been known as this really aggressive two-player solo duo trio squads. It does.
Βασικά να πούμε ότι
You know,
ο καθένας μπαίνει στο ίδιο team πάντα, στο ίδιο match, δηλαδή δεν υπάρχει αυτό, αυτός μπήκε στο ίδιο match με αυτόν ή κάποτε. Όλοι μπαίνουν στο ίδιο match επειδή είναι τελική και υπάρχουν 35 άτομα, συγγνώμη, 35 άτομα και αυτά τα 35 άτομα, όχι 35 άτομα, βλακία, 100 άτομα και αυτά τα 100 άτομα τα πάρετε για να δείχνουν βλακίες. Απλά δείχνουν τα replays. Χριστίνα Σαντρέου. Χάι, τίκο είμαι.
G Savage and Lecce, finding some success with elims in a few games, not making those end games completely. 85 points right now. Past that from 7th to 10th, it is just a 4-point game from Floris' trio all the way down to Teeks.
Yeah, very, very close between the 6th and 10th. And, you know, we just talked about Benji's team there. They kind of been struggling being contested off spawn, kind of similar to what we've seen during the qualifiers. You know, they'll win that fight, but it'll drag out way too long, and the rotations just aren't good because of that. So I don't know what the next plan is for the next few games today, but hopefully they can kind of figure that out. But moving on to our next page, 11th down to 15th, kind of the similar names that we've seen over the last 2 days on this page.
Yeah, I was going to say that the top 15 is really kind of looking standard now. These guys have found their pacing. It's about improving even more now, taking every game as an individual moment, analyzing it, making the best decisions, and winning, just like we saw Mitro, Mongrel, and Tayson do in that last game. From 16th to 20th overall, we also have a few new names coming in and out, but at the same time, the same teams still on the page. We see Lanuf, Marine, and Jaspe on this page right now, 47 points, contesting that top team in first place.
Είδα λίγο το stream του Mongrel και πήγανε και τους γκριφάρανε. Πήγανε και τους κάνανε stream snipe το Mongrel. Δεν ξέρω, δεν είδα ποιος τον έφαγε, αλλά είδα το κάνανε stream snipe και πέθανε το πρώτο τρίο που πέθανε. Επειδή τα replays έχουν λίγο delay, Ήδη πήγα είδα το stream του Mongrel
looking at our next FNCS champions, but there's more that kind of happened here in the game. So I'm gonna kick it over to you guys. Walk us through what you guys
τριοποιεί και τους έκανε streams και τους γκρίφαρε. Πέθαναν πρώτοι και τώρα απλά περιμένουν μέχρι να τελειώσει αυτό το match που θα δούμε τώρα σε λίγο. Επειδή έχει delay το replay. Οπότε τώρα δεν μπορείτε να δείτε κάτι γιατί ουσιαστικά μόνο το Mongrel μπορείτε να δείτε που είναι πιο μπροστά. Επειδή τα replays έχουν delay. Τώρα κανείς άλλος μόνο Mongrel. Και τον κάνανε streams μαλάκα.
And keep height from there on out.
Yeah, in game one, the mistake was kind of
βασικά αυτό μπορεί και να μην ήταν stream snap, γιατί απλά λένε ο Mongrel συνέχεια στα κλαντάρι, απλά πάμε στάρ για να το γκριφάρουμε. Δηλαδή να μην είδανε το stream και να λένε αλλά το ίδιο κάνουμε βασικά. Και τώρα έχουν πάρα πολύ μεγάλο πρόβλημα. Περιμένετε να δω τα leaderboards και θα σας πω ποιοι έχουν πάρα πολύ τεράστιο πρόβλημα. Τώρα αρχίζουμε τα derby. Τώρα αρχίζει το derby. Τώρα που έγινε αυτό με το Mongrel, τώρα αρχίζει το derby. Γιατί ο Mongrel, άμα συνέχιζε έτσι, θα ήταν με διαφορά και θα ήταν σχεδόν αδιάφορο να το πω. Γιατί απλά θα βλέπουμε συνέχεια το Mongrel με win. Τώρα αρχίζει το derby. Τώρα ο Mongrel δεν μπορεί να μπει άλλο game γιατί πρέπει να τελειώσει αυτό που θα παίξουν τώρα. Οπότε, ναι. Τι λέει αυτός ο Τίκο. Ποιος είναι αυτή η Χριστίνα. Δεν κατάλαβα τι λες.
And when you're as far ahead as these guys, when you're as skilled as these guys, when you've been on the scene as long as these guys, they turn these L's into W's. That's just what they do. I want to see them continue with this momentum. Remember, we've got another 5 games on the day. Anything can happen. But will it? We have to kick it back over to our cast to continue the storyline. We'll be back after this. More breakdowns. Take it away.
Πέρασαν το Mongrel για 3 points. Και θα τον περάσουν και πιο πολύ γιατί ο Kinsel με το CRR και το Wolfish ζουνε και θα συνεχίσουν το game τους, ενώ ο Mongrel με το Mitra και το Tyson πεθάνανε και πρέπει να τελειώσει αυτό το game για να ξαναπαίξουν, γιατί όλοι μπαίνουν στο ίδιο game. Οπότε τώρα αρχίζει το derby. Πρώτος είναι ο Kinsel με Mitra και ο Kinsel με CRR και Wolfish. Πάμε λίγο hype. Έρχομαι σε ένα αγαπημένο λεπτό. Κάτσε, ο Mongrel δεν παίζει με τον Mitra και τον CRR. Καλά. Τίκο. Άστο ρε, χέζεις. Σε ποιο competitive έχεις μείνει, αγορίνα, στο season 3 competitive έχεις μείνει? Ούτε.
And that is a biblical proportion type feat. That is one giant marshmallow man to overcome there. I don't know if anyone's going to be able to bust the bubble of Mongrel, Mitra, and Tyson. They are on an unbelievable ride. But one hero that may stand tall, one trio.
Εσύ λογικά έχεις μείνει...
Βασικά
αυτό το τρίο που είπες ήταν μόνο για ένα κάπ και μετά σπλίταραν, αλλά... Οκ. Βασικά σπλίταραμε με το CRR, γιατί ο Mitra και με το Mongrel είναι μαζί. Και έβαλαμε και ο Kinsel εδώ βλέπουμε με Wolfish και CRR με αυτοί με ενάρουν spot σλέπι κομπλέ. Έναν τους έρχομαι
So despite being on 20 HP, he didn't have anything to kind of mark himself against, as we actually see up in the elimination feed. Dretta picking up another early elimination there, but also we saw Lecce end up going down as well. So another one of our power trios over at Doom's Domain struggling a little bit here off of the start. The Dual Media boys giving them everything they can handle so far here on day 2.
And I gotta know, as we've seen that Snipe does pick up an Elim on Benji, what happened? What went down there in Stark Industry? We gotta see in a moment notice. We'll get that replay up going.
Yeah, and that was Benji's full Elim as well. Their trio is down. You keep an eye on that top left corner now, as we're going to see. It's enough. Thomas HD and Flick. If there's anybody to rise to the challenge and go after these guys, it will be them. You can see Anath already holding on to the elimination. Flick finds Mitro off of the start, and not only that, but the power weapons in their hands. You can see Tayson tries to make a little bit of an escape here, but you know they're going to ride that one down right away. Big white tags coming out there, and Flick, who accounts for 75% of this trio's eliminations pre-round or pre-zone 5, is going to find his second one here, and they're going to wrap up for the first time in this tournament. Tayson, Mitro, and Mongrel go down with 0 points. They had never finished lower than 7th place before this, and that was all the way back in the first game. So now, all of a sudden, that battle for second place, everyone else gets that one opportunity to kind of, I believe the technical term is, whoop, shrink that leaderboard gap just a little bit.
Oh, man. And that is the story that we have now developing. I took a look at Twitter, okay? I took a look, and Flick, all he tweeted out was a demon emote. That's all, emoji. That's all he tweeted out. Anas, he said, we should have never left. I'm telling you, the problems of switching from their drop spot. They switched from that dirty docks where they were being so strong and so prominent, and they had strong finishes. When they switched to retail row, I just think they noticed that it wasn't enough. They weren't getting their power weapons. They weren't getting all the resources that they need for their play style. And now they realize that, hey, man, you know, yeah, you never know. They could pop off. You never know, Sundown.
And we've talked about it before as well with this trio coming through. One, they're incredible in terms of their playmaking ability. Whether it's early or late game, we've seen Flick just kind of let running. They also get a nice little Llama 210 pick up there, some extra maps, extra utility. Not that the Stark Industries team will need it after that fact, but I mean, the playmaking capability. But on the flip side of that, let's talk about kind of the mental check that's now going to put on Mitro, Mongrel, and Tayson.
Huge.
Because for this entire competition, they haven't had to worry about sitting there in queues. They haven't had to worry about thinking who's going to come there. They haven't had to game plan something else. They haven't had to prep for somebody to come challenge them. Now, all of a sudden, not only are you eliminated in 30 seconds with 0 points, you have to sit there for a half hour, watch everyone else play outside while you're stuck there in jail. No more games for you back in a little bit. They're a trio who very much kind of rides on that momentum. They're very, very emotional players. When they made the World Cup announcement back in the day, people joked about Mitro and Mongrel being the loudest duo, both for the keyboard claps and just the way they celebrate when they make their plays. But now that they've been silenced for a second, how do they react?
Tayson will have the biggest challenge of them all. Will
καλά, καθένας με τον πόνο του.
Have an
Χρήστο, δεν ξέρω. Τίκο, τα αυτιά σου φτιάξτα. Ή απλά πάνε δες ότι παίζει με τον Dyson, ξέρω εγώ. Δεν με νοιάζει. Να ξέρεις, φίλο, ο Mongrel έχει, με τον Mitro και τον Dyson έχουν 55 points, γιατί πήραν 3 wins. Και είχαν 55 points και ήταν με διαφορά πιο μπροστά από όλους. Αλλά επειδή τώρα πέθαναν, σε αυτό το match πέθαναν πρώτοι, επειδή πέθαναν πρώτοι, έχασα και όλοι μπαίνουν στο ίδιο match και δεν μπορούν να μπουν διαφορετικό match. Οπότε πρέπει να περιμένουν να τελειώσει αυτό το match, οπότε έμειναν στα 55. Και τώρα CRR με τον Kinzel και τον Wolfish έχουν 58 και πιο πολλά ίσως. Γρήγορο γαμό! Ο CRR με τον Kinzel και τον Wolfish τώρα. Ενώ πριν πεθάνει ο Mongrel, ήταν ο Mongrel με τον Dyson και τον Mitro, επειδή είχαν 3 wins και είχαν 55 points.
Now all of a sudden you're going to think, okay, Mongrel really wants to get revenge there. But they haven't had to practice this drop being contested through the first 6 or 7 games. Now all of a sudden, 8th game they lose it. In 9th game, if they lose it again, there's going to be that seed of doubt in there. But right now, Razumi trying to get a little bit of doubt on this team, rotating away here, and a little bit of storm tags as they just remain utilizing their soft mats to get some position.
And Sapphics trio here is looking for a good start here in day 2. Haven't gotten any points at the moment, in 11th place. Sapphic has been one of our slayers here in the region, picking up 15 plus elims by itself. But speaking of opportunities, opening the door here, it feels like, you know, at Anas, Thomas Stacey and Flick have slayed the beast, right? Now all the villagers are going to have a good time to try to claim that castle up there. And Nakos, Clement, and Flokis have an opportunity to storm that castle. They're sitting in 4th place at the moment. They're still about 30 points away, so that is a victory royale. They could definitely do it in one punch, but they could slowly jab their way up the leaderboard, Sundown.
I would say it's probably more equivalent to either scratching the dragon's nose and making him think for a second.
Oh, okay.
Like, that's where he breathes the fire out of, so he's got like a little. It's like, I wasn't ready for that. I'm gonna come back in a moment, but like, the villagers are celebrating. They're like, "Yay, we drove off the beast!" Or it's like punching a great white shark in the face. It's like, yeah, you know what? You punched the great white shark in the face, but that shark is still in the water with you. Yeah, you showed that maybe you might be a little bit of a threat. Maybe you can punch back, but he's still there. They still exist, and while they're going to be forced out for just a little second, one, who takes advantage of that opportunity, and two, what happens when that angry shark, that angry dragon, the poked bear, decides to come back in the next match. But right now, we're going to keep on board here with the teams who will have an opportunity to close the gap. Because only really the teams in the top 4 or maybe the top 5 can statistically still kind of overtake this route. It's going to take a large effort. As you see Clement going and doing every little thing right, making sure they maximize on the utility here, going all the way out and picking up that second big pot and then going to rotate back up the zone.
And, you know, I know the Halloween party is over and all that spooky scariness, but I've always learned to double tap. And that's what Flick, Thomas, and Nos, they're going to have to double tap that down if they're going to keep Mongrel's trio at bay. So, Mongrel's trio is out. Now let's just focus in on who is in and who has the opportunity to go up the leaderboard. And if you're questioning anybody out there, like, why would Thomas and Nas and Flick do that? Because they're slipping down the leaderboard. They start off the day with 15. They're going down to 17. Having Stark, that strong POI in their back pocket now, could enable them to get up the leaderboard and secure themselves thousands of dollars. All of it is on the line.
And people are going to say, oh, why would they go and grief the top trio like that? And to my response to that, are you crazy? Are you crazy? They're competing to try to be the absolute top mark.
Yes.
And if this is a trio who is more than capable of winning games, especially
εγώ ας πούμε τώρα που πέθανε ο Mongrel από την αρχή και δεν παίζει καν στο game, τώρα ας πούμε σε αυτό το game θέλω να πάρει Victoria Benji.
That's how they've won their games. And if you can go start and guarantee that, yes, you have to fight one of the best teams in the entire game to get them. But if you want to win, you have to beat those guys anyway. And they finally said enough is enough. And if you're going to post your spot on Twitter, if you're going to talk about how you're so good at defending your spot, you better have a game plan and you better back it up. Because anybody has the opportunity to land anywhere. This is Fortnite Battle Royale.
Εκτός από το μ' αρέσει που βλέπω που κάνουν καλά plays και τα λοιπά. Αυτό που άλλο όταν βλέπω, αυτό που μ' αρέσει, κάτι άλλο όταν βλέπω έτσι τουρνουά με pro players, ειδικά αυτά τα μεγάλα τουρνουά. Αυτά που βλέπω είναι ότι μαθαίνω πράγματα για να τα κάνω εγώ μετά.
The textbook of fighting on the low ground, doing really well, and they got a victory royale. So one of the few teams that have a victory royale.
Εδώ στο Lazy βλέπουμε έχει το όλο το χάιο Sierra με Wolfish και Kinzel.
Kinzel's trio has one, and as well, Gamma's Cammy's trio has one as well. Cammy and Co. So those are the stories that are unfolding here. The great thing is, you know, we can speculate all you want, but it is the competitors themselves that answers the questions. That is what we're watching here as the drama unfolds, and the drama will pick up for Wolfies and CRR, considering Kinzel, the back-to-back DreamHack champion, goes down. And Kinzel is just like just like Tayson for this trio. He kind of holds it all together, considering that in DreamHack it's a very placement-heavy format, and having that ability to kind of slow pace, passively, aggressively at times whenever you needed to get your way further into in-game, that's going to help out people like CRR Wolfies, who are known to be great opens box fighter players.
But right now, we're keeping on that Storm Surge special on the right-hand side, just above the map. Well, the key snipe there coming from that World Cup runner-up there, the young controller player from England. Finding a great tag, bullet in there on Takira through the window, just like a true sniper would. well done to put himself above. We talk about the little moments. That moment is so much bigger than just the 1 point on the elimination. Shedding themselves of that storm surge threat is going to be massive in terms of just getting positioning. As we've seen, atypical compared to what we've seen in Europe so far. There's been more and more storm surge pressure in the grand finals. No team had more Elan's versus Mongrel's trio than Flicks. And a part of that has to do with the rotation path. They're always coming out of the east and passing that Stark Industries. And also, man, just pound for pound, they're one of the few trios that actually wall to wall. We talk about kind of wall to wall. That's when you're in a box against somebody and not necessarily in the same space, but only one or two walls in between you guys. These guys on those fights almost better than anyone in here.
And Thomas is a superstar, had a great run in heats. Anas and Flick are right behind him as well. They're forming a very strong trio. Thomas AC had some Twitter barbs with Zexro from NA East. Thomas AC was talking about, hey, who could come over here from NA East and compete? Should I go over there? It's so interesting. You know, we all wish we had a World Cup Part 2. Like I said, sometimes the sequels are better than the originals. We all wish that. We all wish we'd be able to settle the great debate of EU versus NA. And don't forget about the Latin American. Don't forget about the Asia. Don't forget about OCE. We're talking about Fortnite, baby. Worldwide. Some of the best competitors all throwing down. It's all happening here in this amazing month here. I cannot wait to see who's going to walk away champion here for EU, and I cannot wait to see who's going to walk away for champion in NA East. So the debate's going to kick back up again.
You can see right now we're hopping on board here with that second place team on the leaderboard who's going to try and take advantage of that opportunity to shrink that leaderboard and shrink the lead of that top trio. But I'm glad you mentioned something about Latin America, because if there's an international land, we've seen just how good King can be in those circumstances. But right now, all the focus is on Europe as Xqueeze, aka MCES, Duck on top there, finds a nice rotate in. Now this positioning, we've talked about it time and time before, it's called a gatekeeping position. When you're in the safe zone and pressuring players who have the zone at their back or either already into it and need to make it into the new safe zone. It's where a lot of teams who had the foresight to rotate earlier are able to get key opportunities to pick up eliminations. And you can see right now, Duck on top doing a great job spraying down shots there, having control of the pieces in the area, and now trying to locate where that weak member is.
We're seeing already the rest of the lobby, you know, seems are heating up at the right moment. Hen picks up a knock right there in the Elam feed, so that's going to be huge for them. Now that we know that the big monsters are out of the game, that's just going to make everyone play a little bit more loose. It's like all of a sudden the parents are not watching it anymore. The kids are going to run bunctious. The rugrats are going to do what they do best. And that's going to be an opportunity that they have to capitalize. You're going to have a big pop-up game here if you're Alex, Xqueeze, and Giannis. If you want an opportunity to get that first place, and I mean, we're all going to have to keep an eye on. We talked about moments leading to bigger moments, and that moment of the opening engagement from Thomas, Flick, and Anas getting out Mongrel is causing so much waves throughout the entire time. And look at that. Analix, Giannis have someone on the ropes in that back half. Let's take a look at the overall picture here and see who's going to have a strong position going forward. This is going to be a very interesting in-game, considering we have a lot of water and Lazy Lake POI.
Άμα βάλετε glider και έρχεται μπροστά στην
Right now, you can see Wolfie and CRR not having to move, just still perched up on top of the building. Lanuf, Moraine, Jaspe, the other team who had originally contested over at Stark Industries, but not brave enough to go over there in the grand finals, posted up. Getting a nice 360 view here. Shout out to the observers, by the way. They've done a great job catching all of the action and giving us some of these beautiful shots. So see a nice little double ramp rush coming out from our second place team. That to me indicates that fourth zone was revealed, and they're going to try and get priority over that entire western side, and a good push from them there as we see Floki also pick up an elimination onto Swag. So continuing their tradition of picking up more elims than normal in the mid game as Andalex in another one of those gatekeeping positions here, priority high zone. And I mean, the reason they're packed around the outside is that fourth circle, so we have half in, half out. Right.
Yes, President.
καμιά να...
Ακόμα είναι συναυλία, απλά δεν τη βλέπει κανείς.
Α, τελείωσε. Ναι, τελείωσε. Α, τελείωσε, ναι. Ναι, απλά κλασικά έτσι είναι στα Battle Royale. Απλά δείχνει η εικονίδια του Fortnite και παίζει μουσική εδώ πέρα. Οπότε, να τελείωσε. Πάμε στα FNCs. Ωραία μάγες, τελειώνει το μάτς και μετά πάμε να παίξουμε creative. Γιατί βαρέθηκα λίγο. Αλλά νομίζω τώρα στο late game έχει αγωνία.
Janice gets knocked there as well. So our top four trios facing a little bit of adversity, but who's capitalizing on the opportunity right now? It's the team who took the situations by the horns. Thomas HD and Co. grabbing some elims. We're gonna hop back on board here with Nate, Smash Dave, and Bobo, Exalti, our wild card team, trying to find some more rifling.
Rojo's team going into the day or top 10. They kind of slipped a little bit there, and they're trying to find their footing in 12th place. This is a strong opportunity. You had basically the lowest of chances to get into the grand finals, and you were one of the ones that came out on top in a wild card finish. And there's just proving the point. Is now sitting in a top 15 situation. Now we're going to kind of pull back. Let's take a look. We already know that actually Wolfie's spot get taken out by Flix Trio. So now we're going to take a look here as now the first 6 full rotating circle is revealed and Exalti, Nate, and Rojo get that prime priority position.
And that's the benefit of going early with the utility. They're going to be able to go before anybody else identifies the opportunity to. Keeping an eye on the top left, Thomas HD and Co. still rattling off the eliminations and making their push further up into the money, taking advantage of the opportunity they made for themselves. It's a breaching charge up the leaderboard, but right there, Bobo finding a great shot and good conversion onto Matzo that Rojo's going to be able to pick up. Hen still on his feet, trying to do it 1v3 style like he's used to. Steelix finding CRR in the feed as well, but Bobo just trying to find a little bit of room here on the low ground. Sees his teammates are a couple levels above him, should be looking to rejoin them, as now we're going to flip on over to the side of the zone, get a wide shot there to see everyone trying to rotate and get in front so they can then about face on the rest of the lobby. And our second place trio is still up on their feet, but it's just in a duo bonus. Floki is also going to get knocked. It's all going to be on Nakos now for 4th place trio, as the first placement points will take over. Every trio up getting 1 point, but still 40 players remaining, 9 of which are under storm surge. Our 4th place trio going down. 2nd place trio also getting knocked here, as Nate, Dave, and Bobo are continuing to just be on the front priority of the zone. Hen doing his best solo ranger impression, picking up another knock, but right now all about priority, as these guys are going to begin to find
picks. We're going to see a new name at high very shortly, considering Mongo Trios is out. They went out at the very beginning. This is the wild card on the low ground, working as a unit, doing really well. They're trying to find space control. They don't have much of it, considering there's a lot of enemy build, but they're going on the storm side of things, so they're going to be able to save as much as possible. A nice pickup by Nate right there is going to go back into the storm to pick up those viable loots. Now we're going to get a point and see and look at who's at the mid ground, who's at second height, who is at the low ground. It looks like Nate, Exalti, actually Bobo going down, so it's going to be Nate to Rojo right now, and Rojo is really low, so all of it's going to be back time for Nate, considering that he has a strong power weapon. He has some crash pads that can cause some destruction, and now Nate is going solo solo. Steely picks up an elim. Hitsy picks up an elim, and Steely and Hen picks up a knock, and Hen is still up, and Nate picks up an elim. Everybody's trying to capitalize that, knowing that the big dogs are out of this match here, Sundown.
And Hen finally going down. The solo running in the top 10, but Nate says, I'm Mr. Solo Dolo himself. Crash pad up on the high ground, gets Antarak, and we saw SLQ had a brilliant kind of tactical performance yesterday, hiding in the tree there for their second place. So some high ground control, but again, textbook from the top down. When they're given the power position, they're taking advantage and trying to storm up the leaderboard. Thomas HD flicking it off on the high ground and nothing to do there.
And Squeeze is out, so that is the second place team going down, getting eliminated. This is Thomas and Anas and Flick's world to be able to bolt themselves off the leaderboard. This is the strong opportunity to do so. They already have, look at that, double-digit E-limbs, 11 E-limbs. This is going to be such a strong game from this trio. And now we're in a top 4 situation. And Flick, Anas, and Thomas HD has initiated the spread, the split, the deadly split that a trio could initiate and rack up a lot of E-limbs and cause disruption. Flick has Thomas HD as well. He's going to be able to throw them down and cause more disruption on the low ground.
Είναι 8 άτομα. Είναι αυτοί οι τρεις και
during the qualifiers, they'll be in this position and they'll slip away in the final moment. And if they want to put themselves in the money, if they want to unseat Mitro, Mongol, and Tayson all the way, not just from the landing spot, but from a miraculous run and unseat them at the top, they have to get all the elims in the victory run out. Anas finding Flois in the side. Thomas making sure he's all the way up on height, and he has a shockwave to also throw down on the low ground. Going to continue with the crash pass. Sends up Anas. Flick goes down. They're going to put the heat onto Thomas, and then Anas is going to go down and try and close out the match. Coming through. Here's the thing. Anas is down 1v3, but the tick is going to end up coming over. Centric is in the zone. He has the healing pass, and Thomas HD clutches it up there. Well done, Louis, going down in 15
Μαλάκα, το έχετε παρατηρήσει ότι όλοι παίρνουν τα στάρ και όχι τα σκάρ.
Unbelievable. It is grand finals. It is hype. We are going to need a leaderboard check. Zeke, Shayo, and Reese.
Ωραία, πάμε να παίξουμε creative τώρα. Κάντε λίγο. Ή θέλετε να το δούμε, τι θέλετε.
Εγώ λέω να μείνουμε, ωραία πρέπει να δούμε.
Επειδή έχει αρκετή ώρα μέχρι να αρχίσει και το επόμενο match, κάνει κανένα δεκάλεπτο, ας πάμε λίγο creative. Εγώ το βλέπω από το κινητό μου και μόλις δω ότι αρχίζει, πάμε. Πάμε τέτοιο. Πάμε να το δούμε. Αλλά τώρα στο επόμενο θέλω να κάνει ο Μογκρελέλος. Ο Μογκρουελίτος θέλω να πάρει win στο επόμενο.
Να πάρει bullseye.
Όχι, σκατά είναι bullseye.
Η τρίτη μορφή, κάτι κάνει.
Τι λες, καλά, εγώ σου λέω εσύ τώρα ξέρω τι θα πάρεις.
Μην τι.
Πάρε Ghostbuster, ρε! Την ξανθιά την Ghostbuster. Αυτή που έχω κι εγώ.
Προτιμώ να τα κρατήσω, να πάρεις Super Hero.
Με 1000 δεν παίρνει Super Hero.
Με 1800 σε παίρνει, αλλά και πολύ. Θα πάρω άλλα πόσα από το Battle Pass. Άλλα 500 και...
Ωραία, πάμε, εγώ το βλέπω από το κινητό, πάμε εμείς και μόλις τελειώσει. Τώρα που βλέπω λίγο τα leadboards, συνεχίζει και είναι πρώτος ο Κίνιζελ με Γούλφις και CRR με 59 points. Δεύτερος έχει μείνει, μαλάκα δεύτερος έχει μείνει ο Μόγκραλ, ρε. Για να φανταστείτε πόσα ακραία μάτς έκανε. Ένα ολόκληρο μάτς δεν έπαιξε επειδή πέθανε ο πρώτος. Δεν πρόλαβε να πάρει ούτε ένα kill. Και ακόμη έχει μείνει δεύτερος και έχει μόνο 4 πόντους διαφορά από τους πρώτους που είναι ο Κίνιζελ με το CRR και το Γούλφις. Με 59 points. Και ο Μόγκραλ είναι δεύτερος με 55. Βλάκα ουσιαστικά σε αυτό το μάτσα άμα τα πάει καλά ο Μόγκραλ ξανά είναι πρώτος με μεγάλο πόντο.
Τι μου βάλατε Θεέ μου.
Ποιος μαλάκας έβαλε αυτό τη μαλακία. Α, όχι δεν είναι αυτή η βλακία.
Τι είναι αυτό ρε.
Έλα, πού είναι τα σκάρ.
Το σκάρ που είναι. Ένα μόβ βλέπω εδώ, ένα χρυσό σκάρ δεν έχει.
Ανάκτο.
Χρυσό σκάρ δεν έχει.
Ποιος μάρακας το έκανε αυτό το map?
Ενώ είναι αυτό το map, ρε σκάρ το map.
Χωρίς πλάκα, είναι σκαρά. Πλάκα, στριμάρω με 720p και λαγκάρει πιο λίγο και από τη λαγκάρα το στριμάρω με 360. 340.
Πώς θα βάλεις με 720?
Σκαβαρκιά μετά απ' έξω. Φάουλ. Μίτσο, έχεις κανένα άτομο στο live?
Μωρή.
Ένα, δύο.
Ξένη.
Πιστεύω είναι αρκετά
Εγώ πρέπει να μην πουσάρεις.
για το κανάλι μας. Για το κανάλι μου είναι αρκετά πιστεύω και επειδή και αύριο έχουν σχολείο όλοι και τώρα είναι βράδυ. Πιστεύω πως μια χαρά. Και δεν κάνουμε και κάτι ακραίο, όπως θα βλέπουμε τα FNCS. Για κάποιους που δεν ξέρουν καν competitive, θα λένε τι λέει αυτός οι μαλάκας, αλλά υγεία.
Έχει κουμπί για reset.
Green Warrior εσύ στο live. Εσύ είσαι στο live λέω.
Όχι, τώρα το έχω κλείσει.
Ποιος είναι στο live?
Είναι αυτό το όνομα που δεν βλέπω Παναγία.
Έχει LMG. Έχει LMG.
Δεν βλέπω Παναγία ρε, δεν μπορώ. Μάγκες έρχομαι σε λίγο.
Και πίτσα μου.
Πώς γίνεται αυτό ρε με το κράσπο εκεί πέρα? Κατάλαβα πώς. Όχι μαλακία. Παίρνουμε σε νερό. Θα ξαναβγούνε στο περίεργο.
Τι?
Θα ξαναβγούνε στο περίεργο, ρωτάω.
Λογικά.
Πότε?
Δεν ξέρω εγώ.
Άρχισε το κάπου Μίτσο, άρχισε το FNCS.
Όχι.
Ναι, όχι, μιλάω αυτό το έχει αρχίσει.
Όντως.
Ναι.
Θα μπορούμε σε λίγο να κάνουμε. Φίλο είναι αυτό.
Δεν πειράζει.
Πρέπει να φάτε λίγο μοντρέλο στην πλάση. Όχι ρε μαλάκα, δεν τρώω εγώ τα σότ ρε. Και από τους δύο. Να μου το μου. Φίλο, εσύ γιατί τέτοιοι. Γιατί έχω full delay στο movement. Θα πάω να το πέσει κάποιος. Μάγισσα, εγώ το κλείνω το ελεύθερα.
Μίτσο.
Έλα.
Πάμε να δούμε το εφησιές.
Να πάμε. Fuck off. Ναι, μάγισσα, αν δεν πάει το κλείνουμε.